He's definitely the best leader at quarterback that I've ever seen in general on any team.
Any team you ever played on. Wow.
On any team. Yeah. That's the, you know, and I would say, well, let me take that back. Nick Foles was that too. So I'll take that back. So him and Nick Foles are the best two quarterback leaders that I've ever been around. You know, followed up with close third, I would say Alex Smith. But they were just he's that guy. He has the ability to win over the entire organization. If you meet him, you want him to win. Do I think that he can do it? Yes. He has a lot of deficiencies, and will he have enough time in this city? That's the question. And I don't necessarily know. I can't give you a solid answer. Yep. I want the kid to succeed. I want him to succeed. But knowing what I know from a quarterback perspective, he has a lot to overcome in a short period of time in an impatient city.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. We are Sports Take. I am Rob Ellis, along with Derek Gunn. Barrett off today. JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Talked a lot of Eagles and some NFL in our last segment, and we will continue the Birds discussion with our next guest. Played for the Eagles, had a really strong career. Was an Eagle from 2006 to 2013. Played in total 8 years. For the Birds and 11 years in the NFL. Jason Avant, what's happening, Jason?
What's up, Rob? D-Gun, how you guys doing?
I like the lid, first of all. Man.
Like
That's a strong hat. That is a strong hat right there.
I appreciate you guys.
I owe him an apology, and I will apologize now publicly. I asked him to be on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him at the last minute. He said, D-Gun, you can't ask me at the last minute. He was up in New York. He was doing something. And so when I texted him this morning, I said, dude, yes, just call me last minute D-Gun. I apologize, but I swear I thought I sent him a text yesterday, and I looked at my phone and said, oh, man. So I said, hey, what are you doing at 2 o'clock today? And he said, look, I'm out running errands. Yeah, I know. He said, I'm out running. I said, dude, you can do it from your phone, wherever you can. I said, I appreciate it if you can. So when he's out, he's one of those guys, he's like a Brandon Graham, bro. When I call on Jason Avant, he gets D-Gun, I'll do it for you. He very seldom does he tell me no. So I apologize for being last minute D-Gun again, brother.
No, can't take him anywhere, Jason. We can't take him anywhere.
Take him anywhere.
Yeah, we feel your pain. But Jason, so first off, I'm fascinated to hear about some of your business ventures, man, before we dive into the Eagles and your thoughts. Yeah. But we know you have the trampoline business that you're involved in. Just let people know what's going on, man, and where your spots are and all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah. So I'm in Deptford, New Jersey, Launch Trampoline Park. Come by, check us out. We do everything. We do laser tag, Ninja Warrior, rock climbing, full arcade, birthday parties, corporate events. We're constantly adding attractions to the park constantly. We have 33,000 square feet, so it's a big space. And we employ local kids in the area, trying to give them a chance. They're starting their first job, and we have a ball entertaining kids the entire time. You know, I wanted to do that because it was a safe space for me growing up in inner city Chicago. It was something different. I was the first time, you know, me going to Six Flags, I was able to interact with people of all different races. And I saw a different side of life, and it gave me a dream. So I know that can be a safe space for kids, and that's why I opened up Launch Trampoline Park in Deptford, New Jersey. I also do, you know, e-commerce and real estate and all types of things. I got a hand in a bunch of everything.
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
Hey, Jason, with the launch in particular, how much did you get hurt by COVID?
D-Gun, you going in and out there. Say it again, buddy.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I said, how much did your trampoline business get hurt by COVID over the last few years?
It got hurt pretty substantially. I had 3 stores. I'm down to 1. And it wasn't anything to do with the store. It's just timing. You know, timing of when the recession or the pandemic happened, and it wasn't enough to gain the trust of some of the landlords there. So that's life. You live, you learn lessons from it. I learned a bunch, and I've also learned how to do other things in order to create revenue. And also you start to realize what your necessities are and what your needs are. And we've been able to sustain this business, which is able to take care of the ones that were in debt.
Hey, Jason, I'm curious. Your last year in the league was 2015. How far back, even your early years with the Eagles, or even college or high school, whatever, were you thinking in these terms once you know, a lot of guys have that tunnel vision. It's just, I'm playing and I'll be doing this forever. You know, did you realize always that you wanted to kind of venture off into different things once it was over for you?
It's a fine balance because it takes everything in order to stay in that league, in order to be competitive and play and be, you know, a notable player in that league. It takes a full commitment, a full sacrifice. So you have to have it in the back of your mind, and then in your off time, when after you're done training, after you put in the time, the effort to be successful, that's when you start asking friends about it. And you know what made me really look into it? I always wanted to do family entertainment, so that's one. But when, you know, Dawkins and Trey Thomas and Westbrook and that generation was phased out in a year or two fast, I was like, dude, these are all my friends, because I've always made friends with older people. So, you know, I'm calling them old right now.
Like Derek, yeah.
Wait, what?
I've always had no soul, my grandmother would say, because I was raised by her. So when I started to see them, you know, get phased out of the league, I was like, dude, I gotta figure this out. And then that's when I began to reach out to people about opening up different entertainment facilities. And I began to shadow when I was playing. I began to intern when I was playing.
That's cool.
So Jason, when you were here, you were always considered a fan favorite. And what people loved about you most here, you were tough as nails. You took some hellacious shots. Anything that hit your hands, you didn't drop. And you came out of your career in Philadelphia as a fan favorite. And even to this day, when we announced that we were having Jason Avant on, people are like, I love that dude. You know, so when you started to decide to make the transition to becoming an entrepreneur, was it always smooth sailing for you because you could open doors that some other people couldn't get through? Or was it rocky roads at times? Did you have the high tides and the low tides as you learned your way as a businessman?
There's always ups and downs, right? I always say that you pay for what you don't know. And people are willing. You just got to get over your pride. And that's one thing that I had to realize is that, you know, people are willing to help if you are willing to reach out to people. And I've created so many relationships and contacts that I had to take advantage of. And I didn't know how to do that because I was always self-sufficient. And you're always taught to not to rely on anyone. But that's a farce. That's not real information. We're going to need each other. And me starting a business in Philadelphia area was definitely the smartest thing that I could do, because I was able to garner the name that I created here. And also, I'm in the store every day. So people have Eagles questions. People have, you know, they want to take a picture or they want me to play against their son in dodgeball, which I'm doing already, right? So it creates a community. So people feel like they know me each and every day. So it was definitely easier opening up the business in Philadelphia, but there's ups and downs to all businesses. It wasn't easy at all. My first couple of years, we didn't know what the hell we were doing, but now we're good.
Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm remembering the play, but on the I'm going back a little bit here, but the 2010, you know, Miracle of the Meadowlands Part 3, depending on what you want to call it.
Yeah.
Did you not have the key block for Deshaun's walk-off punt return in that game?
It was one of the key blocks. I can't take it. It's the most memorable block, you know, from most fans' perspective. But there was a couple other blocks in there. Omar Gaither knocked out 3 people with 1 block. He never.
Oh yeah.
Is that yeah?
And you know, it could have been called a block in the back too, but we're going to give him the block for it.
It wasn't. That's the bottom line. You know what I mean? There's no flag. It wasn't a foul. That's
it wasn't a foul. Yeah. So, and I got the last one. So the funny thing, the story behind that is that we knew the game was going to come down to that punt. So neither Deshaun or I are on special teams by that time. It's later in our career, right? So we didn't have to be on special teams at that point. But I'm known as the best Eagles rusher during that time. Like, you get the most pressure. I didn't always block and kick, but I was able to get pressure. So the special team coach, hey, Jay, you got to get in there to rush, try to block it. So I'm in there, and the first thing I do is go, Deshaun, you in? He's like, yeah, they just got me in there. I was like, dude, take it to the house, you know? And I just remember him parting the sea and going up, and I was like, I just got to hit Diassi. And I got so excited, like, no technique, knocked both of us out. He had a concussion, I had a concussion. I'm like, dude, that was the worst technique you can ever use, but we scored. So
was that the craziest NFL game you were, or college, high school, whatever game you were ever part of?
I've been in some wild games, right? So pros, more than likely, yes. College, we were down like 28-7 with like 4 minutes to go and won the game at Minnesota one year. Wow. You know, so it was. I've been a part of some crazy games. Yeah.
How many concussions do you think you've had in your career?
Realistically, all levels, you got to be the plus 10.
Woo!
Plus 15. You know, that's just realistic. You know, guys will try to, you know, make that number smaller. When you really consider what a concussion is and what we know now, we didn't know it then. We would always say you got your bell rung and the coach would give you a little water. You sit down, you out for a play. But I've got my bell rung over the middle a few times, you know. And I remember literally trying to go to sleep on a bench one time in an NFL game, and the trainer's like, "Dude, get up." You know, it was before concussions were a thing, you know. So
wow,
yeah.
Goodness,
that's amazing.
Wow.
Jason, we got to ask you. I mean, you're coming from certainly a point of expertise here. First, I want to start with from what you saw last year from Devonta Smith. You know, where is the ceiling here for this kid going into his second year now?
I say you always, as a receiver, you don't get to mature in your first year. You're still learning the nuances of how to get open and what guys will go for. It's a much different corner, much more patient corner, the best coaching ever. So guys are not going to go for those same moves that you were able to get away with in college. So you're doing a constant juggling of what works and what doesn't work. So he's going to definitely mature, and he's going to be a lot better than he was last year, meaning his efficiency is going to go up. How his targets will go up, but also I don't know if his targets go up because of AJ Brown, but his efficiency will go up, meaning that he should be in that, you know, 69, 70%, you know, catch range as far as, you know, his targets.
Anything that's thrown his way, right?
Yeah, he should get that more. He should be higher on that level. So which causes you to be a more productive receiver. It's not about the numbers that the catches that you make. It's about how many yards per catch you can average, and also that equates to wins more than the number of catches. We like catches because of fantasy football, and the fans love it because, you know, you get a touchdown and you get 10 catches, you get more points. I don't care about how many catches you get. I care about how many times you were targeted and how many yards per catch you get, and how important that catch was, right? Critical third down. So I think that he's going to grow in that level, and getting covered by the second and third guy now, it only bodes well for our team. So I think that he's going to have a very successful year, as long as the quarterback can get it to him.
How surprised with you Howie Roseman was able to pull off that trade and bring in an AJ Brown?
I was definitely shocked. I was pissed at first because Jameson Wood. I was mad Detroit got him right before we did. Because that's my brain was. I'm like, he's the best. To me, he was the, you know, one or two arguably best receivers in the draft to me. So I was kind of mad. And then it went from mad to happy and all of, you know, a breath, you know. So I was very, very surprised that Tennessee was willing to give up that caliber of player. Like I said, he's the guy that we're talking about. 65 catches, he's going to have 800 to 1,000 yards. He's going to have a huge impact on the game. And you just don't find guys like that anymore that has that number, that much impact on the game. So I was surprised that Tennessee was willing to give him up so easily, knowing that Julio's old, thinking they can replace him with Treylon Burks. You can't, you know, it didn't make much sense, but it's good thing for the Eagles.
And he'll do it in a bit of unique's the right word, but a different way. He's not, you know, your classic burner. He's a guy who can make a catch 5 yard out and then turn it into 25 with that strength. I mean, the guy is absolutely, you know, jacked as a receiver.
He's a big guy, and usually a big guy that's that strong is and can shake tackles like that. They have tremendous balance, and it's not something that you talk about much when you talk about receivers but only a few of them. Like Anquan Bolin wasn't a burner, but he's way faster than Anquan. But Anquan was strong, but he had tremendous balance. And so he was able to shake a tackle and not go down, all those types of things. And AJ definitely has that.
You know, Jason, I don't know how closely you've stayed associated with the organization, but, man, I tell you what, the opinions on Jalen Hurts right now are either or. When you look at social media and all the comments, there's no gray area with this young man, either or. And I want to get your perspective based on what you've seen last year, what you've heard in terms of how he's going about his business during the offseason and the mini camps. Where do you stand on Jalen Hurts right now, who's still basically an unproven commodity?
He's definitely unproven. You can't naysay anyone that comes up with that argument. Jalen started out with such a deficiency in that he learned the game in a way that isn't the way that you learn for the pro level, right? The left to right reads, running first at Alabama. He was able to make some hay at Oklahoma, and that definitely helps him. Being in a pro style offense, mainly a West Coast offense or number system offense, which is kind of a mix of what we are in now. You have to read progressions. You have to get to second and third and fourth reads pretty quickly, and you have to know where you are based on coverage and know where you need to be. So I think that he has a long way to go. If anybody can overcome the deficit, it's him, because the kid works hard, hard. I've been fortunate enough to be in a locker room with him in the year that I coached there. He's a galvanizing player. He's definitely the best leader at quarterback that I've ever seen in general on any team.
Any team you ever played on. Wow.
On any team. Yeah. And I would say, let me take that back. Nick Foles was that too. So I'll take that back. So him and Nick Foles are the best two quarterback leaders that I've ever been around. Followed up with a close third, I would say Alex Smith. But they were just he's that guy. He has the ability to win over the entire organization. If you meet him, you want him to win. Do I think that he can do it? Yes. He has a lot of deficiencies, and will he have enough time in this city? That's the question. And I don't necessarily know. I can't give you a solid answer. Yep. I want the kid to succeed. I want him to succeed. But knowing what I know from a quarterback perspective, he has a lot to overcome in a short period of time in an impatient city.
What would you say? Take the great intangible parts. We know that, like, he's an amazing leader and everything you just laid out. But what is if you had to put your finger on and just pinpoint the one thing you want to see better from him as a passer? Is it that kind of mid-range game, that sort of touch progression? What is it? The one thing that you say, if he gets this.
That's the thing. It's not one thing, because progression is one thing, right? When you know the plays in and out, and you understand coverage, and you understand disguising of defenses, you can eliminate things before the ball is snapped. Meaning, if it's cover 3 and this concept is not great versus cover 3, but I have a great concept on the other side that's for that, me being on the right side of that play before the play starts, I can automatically eliminate those things. So you see, sometimes there's a breakdown in that, getting to the right read at the right times. There are some sacks that are happening, not because the offensive line did a bad job. It's just because he's on the wrong side of the field. That's one thing. Now, when it comes to accuracy, getting the ball up, he's so cool and so confident and so confident in his ability. He has to learn the NFL tempo and timing. You have to be precise in your drop. You have to be on tempo and on time, getting back with a sense of urgency so the ball can get up in time, so it's not short and guys have to jump over people in order to make a catch, things of that nature. Like, those are things that can be coached, but it's a lot of them. It's not one or two things. There's 3 or 4 things that needs to take place for Jalen Hurts. Accuracy is one of those, but there's some things that have to take place.
Hey, Jason, from a receiver's perspective, when you're a high number 1 draft pick, obviously you're going to saddle up to a quarterback because the quarterback knows he has to get that number 1 receiver the ball X amount of times. But you were a 4th round pick. Okay. Yeah. So how do you win favor with the quarterback to get him to look your way so you can get your numbers up and hopefully get your money up down the road as well?
I always say this: as receivers, you can't count catches, and you can't make your value about catches. Now, that's not the case for most guys, and most guys don't think like I think. I think that you can make a compelling case for yourself if you turn on the tape and you're always open. That's how Justin Houston got a $100 million contract, because his numbers were so much lesser than J.J. Watt. But he said, the times that I rush, I win plus 85% of the time. He rushes 99% of the time, and I only rush 65% of the time, and I'm still almost close to him when it comes to production. And those are the types of things that you can make a case for yourself as a receiver. If you turn on the tape all the time, and you're open and you're winning on the plays that are called for you. You can't control if the offensive line doesn't block, or if a running back doesn't pick up the blitz, or the quarterback throws an errant throw. You can't control that, but I can control if I win. And if you as a receiver put on the tape enough times that you're always open, he's going to start to abort what was number one on the other side. Number two, I know Avant's always open, or I know Avant's going to be there in the third down. I know AJ Brown's going to be there when the game's on the line, and he's going to overrule all the stuff that he's learned in the classroom and throw you the ball. That's how that works.
Wow. That's good stuff, man. Jason, so looking at this team with a lot of things just laid out with Jalen, the additions in the offseason, how good are they?
This team is a top 10 roster. I'll tell you that, like, just flat out. Like, they don't have many weaknesses. I would say maybe safety, maybe linebacker, but they're still strong. They're not bad in any of those positions. And when you look at it, they have the best at the two best positions in the league. Like, I'm not saying that they're going to be better than the Rams. They're going to be better than the Chargers. They're going to be better than the Raiders when it comes to D-line or Buffalo. I'm not going to say that they're going to be better than them, but they're in the top 3, top 5 when it comes to D-line. They're definitely number 1 in O-line. Receivers, they're going to be top 10 in. Cornerbacks, they're going to be top 10 in. So when you start to put these groups together, they're a top 10 roster, and I think that they can be really good. It's all contingent upon Jalen Hurts' growth and development. And I don't know if I've been around an Eagles team where the trajectory of a team is totally dependent upon one player.
Exactly.
It is.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts. Because this team, if he plays really well, is a Super Bowl caliber talented team. If he doesn't play well, they're, 9-win, barely make it to the playoff type of team.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, I want to ask you, Rob and I were discussing this earlier in the show. Who is the pressure on more? And I want you to put them in chronological order.
Okay.
Sirianni, Hurts, Gannon.
I would say Hurts, Gannon, Sirianni.
Why?
Hurts because your offensive line can protect. You have adequate and more than sufficient receivers. When a guy that runs a 4-3-5 is your fourth receiver, you got some talent in your room. You got one of the best tight ends in the National Football League, and you got a stable of running backs that have proven themselves not to be to be reliable over the last 3-4 years. So that's a bunch. Gannon has everything that he's asked for. Jordan Davis, he has a first round talent in Nakobe Dean. Got 2 really good cornerbacks. Got Jaquiski Tart. You wanted your guy from Minnesota back in Harris over Rodney McLeod. So you got a bunch of guys on defense. So there's no excuse for you. Nick Sirianni, I think that he's proven himself. When you think about everything that he's tried last year in order to get this team to get wins, like just from a player's perspective, I've seen the man try no huddle. I've seen him try, run and shoot. I've seen him try, short passes at the line of scrimmage. I've seen him try zone read. I've seen him run the ball 90 times a game. He's tried everything in order to get the team wins, and he finally figured it out midway in the season, and he's proved that he can adapt. Jonathan Gannon hasn't proved that he can adapt at all.
There's there's
a common rhetoric that's saying that I need my players. I'm hearing that way too much. Coaches don't need players. They just need you should be able to let me say that wrong. Coaches do need players, but what I'm saying is that you should be able to put your players that you have in good enough positions in order to get results.
If you don't see a big lead, and I know the scoring numbers weren't bad last year, Jason, as far as from a defensive standpoint, but if you don't see a big leap defensively here with sack totals and takeaways and putting the offense in better positions, I mean, to me, there's no excuses for Gannon beyond that.
Those numbers on tape or on paper last year are lying. The time when the Eagles were top 10, that's a lie. All of those numbers were lying because teams could do whatever they wanted to on the Eagles. They couldn't get in the end zone all the time, the lesser teams. But the teams that had adequate quarterbacks, they got in the end zone. The Tampas, the teams that had good quarterback play, they got in the end zone. The Lions and they didn't get in the end zone, but the teams that were good quarterbacks, they got in the end zone, and they couldn't do anything with their offense, running it or passing it. So I don't necessarily think those numbers were telling the truth.
In all the years I've known you and all the interviews I've done with you and all the interviews I've heard you done, the one thing that has always stood out to me about you is when people asked you, how did you survive in the National Football League for as long as you did? And I love your answer that you've consistently given in terms of your work ethic made you who you are. Can you share that?
Oh, it's a blessing, first of all, because I'm not the most talented. And there's a bunch of guys if this was the NFL floor of talent that you required in order to get in the National Football League, I was probably somewhere right there. You can see how mangled my fingers are.
Not as bad as Baldy's though.
No. Yeah. So I was right at that floor. So I didn't have the ability in order to stay out and hang out, or I didn't have the ability to drop a pass. I didn't have the ability to not take this serious. So it just created in me the desire to outwork people and outthink people. It wasn't just that I outworked them. I thought that I outthought them as well. And when it comes to, little subtleties in the game, or knowing where I needed to be before the play was even snapped, or picking up a blitz, those things. And the other thing that you do is that you learn how to make yourself valuable. So I knew every receiver position. I knew the running back position. I knew what the tight ends had to do. Even on defense, I knew what the nickel would do on certain coverages and things. So you learn how to be valuable. And I knew everything on special teams. If I needed to, I can catch a punt. If I needed to, I can kick return. Even though I wouldn't go far, I still could at least get us, a fair catch. So I just think that you have to make yourself, don't allow the coaching or whoever else to put you in the box. You have to make yourself valuable. And that's with any field that you're in. You have to be able to do more than one thing. And work ethic is definitely that. Like catching, it's amazing to me. When I think about it, for the number of catches that I had, I probably have caught maybe 400 balls to every one catch that I made in a game.
Mm-hmm.
When you really think about all the catches that you put in, the amount of hours I spent on a jug machine just to make one catch in a game, it's crazy.
346 catches. That's a lot of jugs.
Yeah, it's a lot of jugs. When you really think about it, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is. All right, last one, Jason, from me. Your Wolverines, how good are they going to be this year? Big leap last year.
And they made a big leap. I'm hoping that the quarterback play will continue to get better. We lost a lot of guys in the draft. So I'm looking forward to the team excelling and competing with Ohio State and Penn State and those going forward. I think that we have a solid roster. I like the backup quarterback, and they have a great competition going on right now. So I'm looking forward to the team at least being in the conversation of being the top 3 teams in the Big Ten. Will I say we'll beat Ohio State again this year? It's going to be tough up there in Columbus with, losing so many first-round picks.
All right.
Hey, Jason, are you still doing your show with Quentin Michael? If so, share with everybody where you're doing it and when they can see it.
Yeah, so we're taking a break for the summertime, but we'll be back during the season. It's called the Q&A podcast. It's on Inside the Birds platform, on Inside the Birds platform. Also, insidethebirds@gmail.com is where you can send your questions to. We answer questions from the fans. We also talk about the game each and every week. I do that. I also do Inside the Birds pregame with Jeff Mosher, Adam Kaplan, and
these guys are great.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
Cosell. Greg Cosell.
Yeah.
So we have a great time doing that. I'm also going to be doing some stuff with the University of Michigan this season, Saturday reporting for a radio station there. So I'm looking forward and having a great time covering football.
Awesome.
We'll see where it goes.
That's great.
Keep up the good work, and let everybody know again where your trampoline and your entertainment park is.
Oh yeah, so Launch Trampoline Park in Deptford, New Jersey. Again, Launch Trampoline Park in Deptford, New Jersey. If you guys want to follow us, follow me is J_Avant81 on all of my social media handles, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again soon too.
Awesome,
yeah,
man.
Hey,
Jason,
man, down the road. I
Yeah.
promise you, I will give you better warning down the road when we get because we are going to get you.
He's
more
lying,
times during the
Jason.
season.
He's lying.
I promise you, Jason.
I don't believe it, but I'll work for barbecue.
Oh, you'll be the one who gets some because we don't. That's for sure. Jason, thanks, man. It was great hanging with you. We appreciate it.
No problem. You guys have a great one.
All right,
you too, man. Thank you, bro.
What a good dude, man. He's
one of my all-time favorites, man. Yeah,
God, he is sharp, man.
He should be coaching.
He should. His analysis is dead on. I'll tell you what, man. He painted an interesting picture there of Hurts. Unbelievable leader, but he wasn't afraid to tell you there's a lot of shortcomings there.
Yes. And who would know better than a former player? You know, you talk to a lot of players, especially players who are associated with the organization. They want to give you a strategic answer because they don't want to have to go in the building and face somebody and say, hey, why did you say that? You know, and there's nothing that Jason said that's derogatory. It's an honest assessment of what he's seen from this young man. And there's nothing wrong with that. But some people are afraid to step out on that plank and make that honest assessment. And when he started saying it, I'm thinking that's exactly what I've been saying all along is I can't get out of this gray area with this young man. He's mature beyond his years. He knows how to handle himself in high pressure situations. And I'm not just talking about games. I'm talking about in terms of handling himself in a very passionate, emotional, critical market, one of the most critical football markets in all of America. And nothing rattles this kid. But it all comes down to, can you get the job done between the stripes? And we don't know yet. And so that's why I'm saying, until further notice, I'm stuck in this gray area. So kind of like a Bermuda Triangle, so to speak, with him. That's
fair enough. And I think that's where, look, he's giving his honest assessment there. And there's not, people turn that in. He's a hater. No, nobody's a hater. That's what their analysis is from what he's seen. And he said, look, there are some things that he can certainly get better at, and we'll see, but it's a lot. It's a lot to overcome. All right. Well,